My sister told my 7-year-old son, "You know why you don't get good presents, because your mom's selfish." This was at his birthday dinner. I calmly stood up, took my son's hand. "Let's go, buddy." Then I paused. The $17,000 catering order. 4 days before her anniversary party. She texted, "Where's everything? I sent a photo of my son at Disneyland." The second my son lifted the lid on the shoebox, I knew it was an old coloring book with half the pages torn out and a 500-piece puzzle that had already been opened. The tape was yellowed. Leo, who had turned 7 that morning, smiled like he always did when he didn't know what else to do. "Thank you," he said. He was wearing the paper crown my niece had made for him out of construction paper and glitter glue. It slid over his eyes a little. We were at my parents' house in Tacoma. The dining room table was crowded with paper plates, a sheet cake from the grocery store, and a plastic bin full of Dollar Tree party favors. My sister Jenna had insisted on keeping it simple this year. She texted me that it was so much easier on everyone while sending me Pinterest links for balloon arches. Leo set the box down carefully. His cousins had gotten Switches for their birthdays last month. He had saved his allowance for weeks to buy them gains. He still said, "Thank you." Jenna leaned across the table, her voice loud enough to cut through the happy noise. "You know why you don't get good presents?" She tilted her head at Leo like she was letting him in on a secret. "Because your mom's selfish." The forks went quiet. I felt my face go hot like a hand clamped around my throat. My fingers shook around the edge of my plate. Leo's smile flickered. He looked at me, and I saw that he believed her for half a second. 7-year-old belief lands hard. "Jenna," my mom hissed, but she didn't say more. My dad cleared his throat and stared at the football game muted on the TV. Someone coughed. My niece reached for another piece of cake. Life went small. I should have said something. I should have shouted. Instead, I stood up, pushed my chair in, and picked up Leo's backpack. "Let's go, buddy," I said, steady and soft. He nodded and slid off his chair. He kept the paper crown on his head. On the hallway shelf, framed photos of the Johnston grandkids ran in a neat line, all of them except Leo. I'd noticed it before and told myself it would change. Today it made a clean cut. As we stepped onto the porch, the cold air hit me like a slap. I could smell rain and hot dogs and store frosting. 4 days from now, I was scheduled to pay the final $8,500 on a $17,000 catering order for Jenna's 10-year anniversary party. My card, my contract. I held Leo's small hand and felt him squeeze twice. "Our signal, I'm okay," I squeezed back. We got in the car. I put the shoebox on the back seat beside him like it mattered. "I'm Jessica. I'm 36. I live in Seattle. I'm an interior designer, mostly residential, some boutique commercial. I run a small studio out of my townhouse and work with 2 contractors I trust. I'm a single mom. I adopted my son Leo as a newborn. He's the quiet kind of kid who makes space for everyone else. He lines up his toy trains by color and can tell you which station they stop at. He says please even when he's scared. I make good money for a woman in my field. Not TV show money, but steady. Installations get paid in milestones. I bill cleanly. I can open an Excel sheet and calm her home. 3 years ago, when my dad had a heart scare, I set up online access to my parents' mortgage and utilities just to help. It started as a safety net. $300 every Friday to my mom's account, so nothing bounced. Then it turned into paying the $1,200 they were behind on power. Then the $840 overdraft fees at the credit union that my mom was too embarrassed to tell my dad about. I didn't make them feel bad. Money is easier than shame. When Jenna needed a down payment for a used minivan, I sent $4,000. "We'll pay you back," she said. She didn't. When the deck at my parents' place failed an inspection, and my dad was depressed about losing the 4th of July barbecue, I wrote a check for $9,200 to the contractor and brought over burgers. When my nephew's orthodontist wanted $600 to start braces, it was my card. When my niece didn't get into the summer program because of the fee, I covered $1,800. "You're just so good with this stuff," everyone said. "You love giving," Jenna said like it was my hobby. They started calling me the rich one in this sing-gong way, as if the money fell out of my couch cushions, as if I didn't spend evenings measuring for cabinets and weekends installing backsplash tile because a subcontractor flaked, as if I wasn't up at 2:00 a.m. revising a floor plan because a client decided they suddenly hated islands. Meanwhile, Leo was a footnote in my parents' house. At Christmas, all the grandkids got matching red hoodies with their names embroidered. Leo's was plain. We didn't know how to spell his last name, my mom said. They spelled it on my birth announcement. At Easter, the kids did an egg hunt. Grandkids first, my dad said, moving Leo's hand when he reached for a blue plastic egg. He is your grandkid, I said. And my mom said, don't make a scene. There were other things. A family photo framed under the words, blood is blood. Leo sitting on the couch beside me, cropped out of the Instagram post. The time my niece told him he couldn't be in the cousins club because you're adopted. And Jenna said, well, she's not wrong. It was always small enough to swallow. This summer, Jenna and her husband Mark wanted to renew their vows. Just something simple, Jenna said, sending me a spreadsheet with 150 guests and a string quartet. She asked if I could handle the catering. It turned into me planning the whole thing because, vendors. And because she'd had a really stressful week. I did tastings. I sat through 2 long meetings with a lovely woman named Nava at Rainier Table Events. Picked a menu. Cedar plank salmon, rosemary chicken mushroom risotto for the vegetarians, plus a grazing table that could have fed an army. I put down the deposit with my card. Total bill, $17.23.84. Deposit $8.500. Final payment due the Thursday before the party. A tidy little auto-pay scheduled note set under the line item. When I told Jenna I couldn't also afford the $3.500 sectional she wanted for her living room because I was saving for Leo's braces. And yes, maybe for a Disneyland trip because he had a poster on his wall. And I wanted to see that face in person. She sent me a paragraph about how blood helps blood and real family shows up. Then she tagged me in a meme about selfish single moms. I rolled my eyes and made sure the risotto would be dairy-free for Aunt Helen. They've been punishing me ever since I started saying no to furniture. They acted like the money was theirs to schedule and my child was optional. I kept telling myself I could separate the two. At Leo's birthday dinner, I realized I couldn't. We drove home without the radio on. The paper crown's glitter was flaking onto the car seat. The shoebox slid around on the back seat every time I turned. I could hear the puzzle pieces inside clicking against each other like teeth. Halfway up I-5, Leo said, "Am I selfish?" I swallowed. No, baby. Because she said, and I don't think I am. I shared the green frosting. You're not selfish, I said, and I reached back at a red light and squeezed his calf. He rested his hand on my arm until the light turned green and then asked if he could eat cake when we got home, even if it wasn't his real cake. That word sat rotten in my mouth. I said yes and put on the Disney playlist he likes. He didn't sing. At home, he took the puzzle out and counted the pieces anyway, because that's who he is. It was missing a corner piece of the barn. He didn't say anything. He stacked the coloring book on the shelf with his real gifts from school friends, and our neighbor Anna. A Lego sets a book about trains, a gift card for ice cream. He put the paper crown on the fridge magnet and brushed his teeth. I tucked him in and he asked if he could sleep with the nightlight brighter. He likes it dim. Just tonight, he said. I kissed his forehead. He smelled like frosting. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, my hands flat on the wood. The blue light made the room look colder than it was. I opened my email and typed Rainier Table Events into the search bar. Contracts and menus came up. Nia's last message was friendly. Looking forward to celebrating your sister. What a beautiful family. I stared at the words beautiful family until they blurred. I clicked the contract. Order RT, 3,847, 150 guests. PNW harvest menu. Grazing table rental of 20 round tables, 150 chairs, linen napkins, and cream. The invoice tab showed $8,500 deposit paid and $8,523.84 due under that autopay. Scheduled Thursday, 10:0 a.m. card ending in 4428. My mouse hovered over the button that said Manage Payment. My stomach did that roller coaster drop. There are decisions you can uncross and decisions you can't. I took a breath. I thought about Leo's face when Jenna said it. I thought about the empty space on my parents' photo shelf. I clicked Manage Payment, then Pause Autopay. A dialog box popped up. Are you sure? Pausing will prevent final balance from being charged. Your order will be placed on hold. Catering and rentals will not be delivered unless payment is made 72 hours prior to event. Deposit is non-refundable. I clicked yes. Pause. I typed a note to Nia. Hi, Neva. Please place order RT 3,847 on hold. Do not proceed with final charge or delivery until I confirm. Thanks, Jessica. And then I hit send and waited. Her reply came 4 minutes later. Hi, Katie. I'm sorry to hear that, but understood. I've marked the order as paused. No additional charges will be made. If you decide to proceed, the card on file can be reactivated. Best never. At the top of the order, the status changed to a little yellow tag that said, paused. I took a screenshot. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I closed the laptop, rinsed 2 plates in the sink that weren't actually dirty, and looked around my kitchen. The drawing Leo did last week of Space Mountain was taped to the fridge beside the paper crown. He had colored the track blue and written someday in his 7-year-old handwriting with the Y backward. I took my phone and opened the airline app. 2 round-trip tickets for the weekend. The fare made me wuss. I thought about the $17,000 and the word selfish. I booked the flights and a cheap hotel within walking distance of Disneyland. It wasn't about revenge. It was about changing who I spent money on. I closed my eyes the second I hit confirm and my whole body let go. In the morning, I packed Leo's small suitcase before our school run. I tucked the puzzle's barn piece in the outside pocket because it felt like a small, funny rebellion. On my way to a client meeting, my cousin Maya called. She'd been at dinner last night. That was out of line, she said, not bothering with hello. It's okay, I said. I didn't believe that, but I appreciated her. It's not, she said. If you need me to pick a fight at Thanksgiving, I will. She forced a laugh. Also, I got Leo a real gift. Can I drop it off later? It's a build-your-own-train thing. No pressure, just he's a good kid. He is, I said. Thank you. I didn't tell her about the catering. I didn't tell her about the flights. I just drove to my job site and measured a wall like nothing had changed. Everything had changed. The family group chat started pinging Thursday morning right on schedule. Jenna headcount is 152 now. Kids are coming. Can we add more nuggets to the kids' menu? Me flipping pancakes for Leo before school. Unread. Jenna also the sushi tower. We must have it. Mom, remember the photo board, bring baby pics. Dad, don't be late on Saturday. At 9:15, Neva emailed me a courtesy note. Hi, Katie. Just a reminder that per our policy final payment is due 72 hours prior. Your order is paused. Please let me know if you need help reactivating. I wrote back. Thank you for the reminder. No changes. At 10:02, Jenna texted me direct. Where's everything? I didn't respond. I buttered Leo's toast, kissed the top of his head, and walked him to the car. We sang to the radio on the way to school. He asked if we could go to the park after. Better, I said. At noon, my mom called. When I didn't pick up, she called again then, a third time. I answered on the fourth because I'm not a coward. Hi, Mom. What did you do, she said, skipping hello like we weren't related. NEA says the payment is paused. Jenna is crying. Everyone thinks you're punishing them because of a joke. It wasn't a joke, I said. I kept my voice level. And I'm not punishing anyone. I'm not your backup bank. I won't fund a family my kid isn't part of. Oh, don't be dramatic, she said. He's 7. He won't even remember this. He will, I said, and I will. You're letting money ruin everything. I'm letting money stop being the only way I'm allowed to be here, I said. The catering is paused. Unpause it, she said. No, I said. She hung up. I put my phone face down and went back to a lighting plan. At 2:40, Jenna called. I let it go to voicemail. Her text followed immediately. Are you serious? You're ruining our anniversary. This is vindictive. You're letting your child manipulate you. Grow up and pay. I took a single photo. Leo in his booster seat. Mouse ears already on his head because I'd shown him the tickets after pickup. He was holding a stuffed Pluto I'd said yes to on impulse at the airport gift shop because sometimes you say yes. He was grinning like his face might split. Her next text came in all caps while I was standing in the boarding line. Where's everything? I sent the photo with 2 words. With my son. We flew to Orange County and checked into a hotel with a carpet pattern that made me laugh. Leo bounced on the bed and then sat very still, like he was trying not to break the magic by moving too fast. We woke up early and walked to the gates with 1,000 other people. And when he saw the castle, he stopped and grabbed my hand so hard it hurt in a good way. On Saturday afternoon, while Leo and I stood in line for Autotopia, Maya texted, "Not to be messy, but the party looks like a church potluck. Costco sheet cakes, someone's grill, your mom is fuming. There are 10 folding chairs and everyone is arguing about who is more real family. Jenna told people you stole her food. I told Aunt Linda the truth and she told me she's proud of you. Thanks for the update," I wrote. Then I put my phone away and let Leo drive our little car crookedly into the pretend sunset. When we got back to the hotel that night, there were 6 missed calls from my mom and 2 from my dad. One voicemail from my dad said, "We need to talk about your behavior." One from my mom said, "You embarrassed us." I brushed my teeth and turned the volume off. Leo fell asleep with Pluto under his arm and his mouse ears on the nightstand like a crown he could pick back up. We got home Sunday night, sunburned and sticky and happy in that quiet way where you don't want to jinx it. Leo taped his park map to the wall by his bed and drew a tiny roller coaster car with a blue crayon. He wrote, "We did it this time the D backward." I didn't correct him. On Tuesday, I sent one text to the family group. I won't be paying for events bills or extras going forward. I'm not your backup bank. I won't fund a family my kid isn't part of. Silence. Then my mom. You're so cold. My dad. This is about respect, young lady. Jenna, you'll regret this. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I deleted no one and blocked no one. I just put my phone on the counter and went back to selecting hardware for a client's pantry. The following weekend, I threw Leo the birthday dinner he deserved. Just us, our neighbor, Anna, and her partner, Maya, and her toddler, and 2 kids from Leo's class, who had parents kind enough to drop off. I strung a few paper lanterns on the balcony and ordered tacos from the truck on the corner. We had a homemade cake with 7 crooked candles and Oreo crumbles, because I'm better with tile than buttercream. I set 2 extra chairs at the end of the table for my parents without saying anything to anyone. No one filled them. That hurt. It hurt like lifting something heavy and feeling it the next day. But Leo laughed when Anna's partner did a magic trick with a coin. And Maya's toddler smeared black beans up her forearms and cackled. And the emptiness felt honest, not mean. Leo opened Maya's train kit like it was treasure, and then tore the corner of the wrapping paper carefully because he wanted to save it for a collage. He put every card in a neat stack and asked me to read them to him twice. He made a drawing after dinner of the table, with the 2 empty chairs beside it, and taped it on the fridge next to his space mountain someday. He didn't label the chairs. He didn't have to. Later, after dishes, I stood in my small kitchen and looked at the paper crown clipped to the fridge. The Disneyland photo in a frame I'd grabbed from my sample bin. The RSVP card to a party we didn't attend. My phone buzzed once. A text from Aunt Linda. Proud of you. That was all. I exhaled. Not a triumphant movie exhale. Just air going out. I'd made one choice. I'd held it. The fallout was messy, like any demolition before a clean build, but I work in renovation. I know how to live with dust for a while. Leo, already in pajamas, padded in with Pluto under his arm. Mom, he said, serious, can we keep my crown on the fridge for always? Yeah, I said, we can keep it. He nodded like he'd won something big. Maybe he had. I wrapped my arms around him and felt his narrow back under my hands. I thought about all the chairs I've picked and paid for, and the one chair that matters most. We sat down together at our table. 2 seats taken, 2 seats empty.